Hello everyone. Today we are going to read about the topic concept of constitution, which is part 2nd and chapter 3 of Laxmikant. Okay, this chapter is concept of the constitution. First, meaning. The word constitution has derived from Latin word constituere, which means to establish or to set up. Constitution refers to a set of principles which specify the organization and working of the government and the relationship between the government and the peoples in terms of their rights and duties. Like it defines what are the rights of a citizen, what are the duties of a citizen, what are its relationship with government, what are the power and limitation of the government. Okay, so we can say that constitution is fundamental law of the land, supreme law of the state, basic law of the country, instrument of the government, basic structure of the polity. Okay, so you can define it by many ways. Then comes, why do we need a constitution? Why do we need something? There is need of something or there is importance of something. So why do we need constitution? The need will be defined by its function. The function performed by it was regarded as its needs. Okay, Elliot Bloomer gives 8 functions of the constitution. Like first, it declared and defined the boundary of state. Like what is a state? It has a population, it is a geography, it is a government, and it has a sovereignty and territory. If a state has a territory, then constitution defines what are its boundaries. Okay, then is it define the nature of the authority of a state, which type of state is written in constitution is the nature of the state. Like Indian constitution declare India to be a democratic, so the nature of Indian state is democratic. Okay, it expresses the values of political community. Like constitution expresses what are the values that are inculcated in the country. Okay, for example, in Indian country constitution, the values of the countries are mentioned, such as sovereignty, justice, equality, fraternity. Okay, it commit state to particular goal. It define what goals that a country or a government should adopt, like economics development goals. Examples would be directive principle of state policies. Okay, then the most important functions are as that constitution allows coordination and assurance. Like India, that is a very diverse country, so why someone accept the constitution and follow the constitution? Because in constitution there are some rules that are legally enforceable and gives an assurance to everybody that other will follow this, for if they do not do so they will be punished. If someone, there are rules, if someone follow this they will get rewarded, or not rewarded, they will not get punished. But when someone breach the law they will get punished. Okay, the second function that constitution performs is the specification of decision making power. The constitution specify who has the power to make decision in a society. Like it decides how the government will be constituted. For example, legislature has power to make laws, executive has power to execute the laws, and judiciary, which oversees that if the laws are enacted properly or constitutional or not. Judiciary is known as guardian of the constitution. Okay, the third and the most important function that constitution perform is that limit on the power of the government. Sorry, it's written here, here it should be government. Okay, it's limit the power of government, like in the form of fundamental right, that the government never trespass them. But the fundamental rights are also not absolute, they are qualified. But in some sense, because government cannot do anything except some situation that take away the fundamental rights of the citizens, so it places limit on the power of the government. So a constitutional government is known as a limited government, and a limited government is known as a constitutional government. The fourth function that constitution performs is to specify the aspirations and goals of a society. If constitution only written that it is the rule, it is the law, it is the right, it is the duty, then it will not lead to development of the society. In case of India, when it got independence, it needed some goals that need to fulfill in upcoming times. So it defines that what policy that government should adopt in order to fulfill some goals, such as written in our part 4 of constitution, that is directive principle of state policy. In country like South Africa, which is a deep history of racial discrimination, its new constitution has to enable the government to end racial discrimination. So it was its aspiration and goal. Okay, then comes the fundamental identity of a people. A constitution provide identity to peoples, like what they are. For example, German identity was identified by being ethnically German. So constitution specify who they are. It provide them a political identity. By agreeing on some rules and principles, one get the political identity that yes, we belong to this place. And it provides moral identity also. Like if you follow the values that are written in the constitution, then it gives you a moral identity also. Okay, these are the function and need of the constitution. And next, the quality of the constitution. First quality is brevity. That constitution should be precise and do not contain unwanted provisions. It should not be a lengthy. It should be brevity. Okay, it should have brevity. That it does not include something that is not important and put pressure and just become lengthy. Okay, the second quality is that it should be clear. It has clarity. Whatever written in the constitution, whatever provision in the constitution should be clear in their terms, that it should not include complicated language. Okay, that it should not include any complicated language or something. Okay, then the next quality is suitability. The constitution should reflect the need and aspiration of the people. Okay, it should be suitable for the country and the people of that time. Okay, the next quality of the constitution, that it should be stable. It should provide stability. Okay, like the policies and the programs should be in way that it provides suitability to the country. It does not lead to chaos or some tension. Okay, or it does not lead to communism or division of the country. It should unify the country, it should stable it. Okay, the next quality is adaptability. That constitution should be dynamic, not static. As the time changes, the need of the people changes, the aspiration of the country changes. It need to change their policy in domestic as well as political outer arena, in international arena. So the constitution should be adaptable. Okay, to the need and aspiration of the society. The next comes the classification. The constitution was classified on the following types, like evolved and enacted. If a constitution have evolved over time through slow and gradual evolutionary process, then we call that the constitution is evolved over time. And an evolved constitution is known as cumulative constitution. The best example of this is British constitution, that evolve in form of judicial decisions, practices, conventions, principles. Okay, the next classification, No, enacted constitution. Enacted constitution is one who was made and written by a constituent assembly or a constitutional council. An example of this is American Constitution or Indian Constitution, that is formulated by a constituent assembly or a body. Okay. And the next classification is written constitution and unwritten constitution. Here I like to clear that unwritten constitution does not mean that something is not written. It only means that something is not codified or written in a way that we can call it that it is the only book and it is the constitution. There is not something like that, but in written constitution we have compiled a book which we can say it is a constitution. Okay, that is a fundamental difference. Unwritten constitution are just scattered in form of judicial decisions, conventions. Okay, they are interpreted from time to time. Okay, an example of unwritten constitution is UK, means Britain, Israel, and New Zealand. And the example of written constitution is India, USA, Canada. Okay. The next division is based on the amendmentability of the constitution. If a constitution is amended on the basis, like on the basis of ordinary laws, then it is called as the flexible constitution. If the amendment of the constitution need a program or a way or steps or some laws, then it is called rigid constitution that cannot be modified or amended easily. Okay, usually a written constitution is somewhat rigid constitution and an unwritten constitution was flexible constitution. Not always, but some, most of the times. Okay, an example of rigid constitution is USA, Australia, and Switzerland. An example of flexible constitution is UK, Israel, and New Zealand. Okay, then another ways the constitution is classified is federal and unitary. It is based on the division of power between the central government and the state government. If the powers are divided among the central government and the state government in the constitution, then we call that it constitution is a federal constitution. If the power are concentrated in constitution at the center, then we call it the constitution as unitary constitution. An example of unitary constitution is UK, France, Japan, Italy. An example of federal constitution is USA, Australia, Switzerland, and India. Okay, so we can call that a federal constitution is one where the power is divided, and the unitary constitution is one where the power is concentrated. For example, in India, the power and prescriptive constitution. A procedural constitution is one which defines the legal and political structure of a political institution and set out the legal limits of the constitution and government and power to protect the democratic processes and fundamental human rights. Like, it is procedural. It defines what are the steps and procedure that it plays some legal and political limitations. Okay, but the prescriptive constitution is one which prescribes everything in detail. It a broad consensus on common societal goals that political authorities must strive to achieve. That is prescribe what a political authority should do, and it prescribe what a political authority should not do. It places some limits. Okay, so here we're done with the concept of constitution: meaning, function, qualities, classification, and the first part we have done how the constitution is made. Okay, thank you.